Okay, so this is voltage dividers part 2. More class discussion on what we just dealt with in our learning hub on the doing some exercises. And in this case, I've redrawn what we did in class there. We've got 4 60-watt bulbs. These two are connected up in series across the 100-volt source. These two are connected up in series across a 100-volt source. And the purpose of this is for us to demonstrate that from point A to point B, we should have next to no voltage potential between those 2 points because all of these loads are equal. Okay, this will lead us into what we call a balanced bridge circuit. Okay, so if I just power it up, you'll see that if I just meter out my source voltage, it should still be sitting at around 100 volts. Okay, I did sort of predetermine that a little bit. We're a little bit shy of 100. I'm just going to bump it up just a tad. Okay, so we're at about 99 and a bit. It just fluctuates up and down ever so slightly. Okay, so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure the voltages across each of these light bulbs, and I'm going to record them up here on the screen. Okay, so we've got roughly 50 volts here. And then we have roughly 50 volts here again, probably. Yes. Okay. Over here should be the same. 50 volts there. And then the same over here. 50 volts here as well. So that's telling me then that if each of these guys is 50 volts, okay, potential difference between points A and B should be 0. So point A is here. I'm going to put one lead in there, and my second lead is going to go over to point B. And you can see I know it's coming up at roughly 0.7 here. That is the subtle difference between these two light bulbs. So for this, all intents and purposes, we're going to call that 0 with this. Okay? So next, I'm going to power down. I'm then not going to change any jumpers around, but I'm going to move into this circuit here. All right, and in doing so, I need to swap out 2 bulbs. So on this side, I got a 60 watt in series with a 100 watt. I'm going to get rid of my voltages that we recorded up here because they're going to change probably a little bit. Okay. So we need that 60 watt in series with a 100 watt bulb, which hopefully is this one. Yes. And then in this one we've got a 40 watt in series with our other 60. So I'll write those down. So this is a 100 watt. This is a 40 watt, and this is still my 60 watt. Okay, I left my supply voltage at 100 volts still, so I'll just power this back up again. Okay, and now I'm going to measure the voltage drops across each of these guys here. So that first 60 watt bulb, he is sitting now at 72-ish. Okay. This 100 watt bulb now should be about 28, which it is. Okay, this 40 watt bulb is pretty bright, so that's got a fair amount. So that's 74 volts, meaning this one would be about 26. We're showing 27, 26, something around there. Okay. So if I took the difference between the 72 and the 74, in other words, if I wrote this 72 and that's 74, A to B should see a couple volts of difference between each other, right? So if I put a probe in here and a probe in there, whoops, we're going to get 0.4. Oh, that's lovely. Not enough change of difference. Okay. It must be a lot closer than what I anticipated. 74, and this one is sitting at 74-ish. Yeah, they're really close. So that's not 72, that's more like 73-ish, 73 to 74. So my bad, I'm just going to change this up for a moment. Okay, we need a stark degree of difference. I'm going to get rid of this 60 watt. That's why we experiment around a little bit. And I'm going to put a 200 watt in its place. I do want to prove that this actually works. Okay, so the values over here will change ever so slightly. Okay, so now across this 100 watt bulb, we have 77. Okay, and across this 200 watt bulb, I have 24. Okay, so this is now a 200 watt bulb, and this is now outputting 24 volts. Okay, so from A to B, if this is 24 here and that's 74, we should see roughly 50 volts potential between the 2 points. This should be much better than the 0.4. And we're looking at about 48 to 49. It's fluctuating up and down a little bit. Okay, so that is proving that this will work. And in this case, because I've got my common on my more negative point, my negative's up top, and I've only got 24 volt potential there, whereas over here I've got a positive 74. So we're going to see a positive 50 from A to B, making A a negative terminal and B a positive terminal. Okay, if I flip it around and put my test leads in the opposite position, you're going to see that that does come out with a negative value. Okay, so the polarity can change within there based on the reference points. Okay, and I apologize for the middle one with the 60 watt bulb there. I thought there'd be a sharper difference between the two, but there obviously wasn't. Okay, so that's that. See you in the Learning Hub.